back in the 1990s. The dream was to become a $50 million company. That's what we were going for. Well, last year we sold over $338 million worth of Cutco. We have a variety of different sales channels for our CSPs to choose from. And for the first time ever, 6, the most ever, CSPs sold over $1 million of Cutco themselves personally, not as an office, but personally as CSPs. Just CSPs now are thriving. They're building exciting lives, both in and out of the business, and they're staying with us for a long time. Look at that, 19 CSPs, over 300,000 in sales, the most that we've ever had. And I don't think that would have happened had we not gone through the adversity of 2020. Most of our awards tonight will recognize accomplishments that took place this past year in 2021. But we will have a few awards that recognize excellence, not just for a year, but over the course of an entire career. Our ultimate career award is to be inducted into our Hall of Fame. To be in the Hall of Fame requires $2 million in personal sales, or $10 million in office sales, or $20 million as a division manager. We are really proud to have 35 Hall of Fame members in our Eastern region at this time. When someone in our business reaches Hall of Fame, we recognize that accomplishment in several ways. There's a special ceremony in their honor. They receive the beautiful Hall of Fame plaque. Their picture is displayed in our Wall of Fame at our headquarters in Olean, New York. They receive a travel voucher for $5,000 to take a trip anywhere in the world, courtesy of the company. And the Hall of Fame ring, those 3 red rubies, are replaced by those 11 gorgeous diamonds. It's an extravagant award for an extraordinary accomplishment. Our first Hall of Fame inductee is from the Fort Lauderdale office, and it looks like he's got a group with him outside. Congratulations to Taylor Max Ricart, new Hall of Fame member in the Eastern region. And I believe Taylor Max is joined by his mother, his sister, her boyfriend. I believe Taylor Max, your father, is out there on Zoom as well. Great to see the outdoor gathering party for Taylor Max celebrating his Hall of Fame. So let's talk a little bit about T-Max. His Hall of Fame journey began back in May of 2011 in Kathy Kristen's Miami office. So 10 years ago, Taylor Max's journey began. He was 19 years old, just finished his freshman year of college, did a pretty good job. Sold $2,100 in his fast start, had a $24,000 summer. He branched a couple of times, was the right-hand assistant manager in Kathy's office, but his real passion was selling and building relationships with clients. T-Max shared this story with me from his first SC2 push back in July of 2011 that really set the stage for his journey as a CSP. Taylor Max was $6,000 away from his goal for the push. His goal was $12,000. This is his first SC2 push. It was the next to last day of the push. That day, Taylor Max had 5 appointments. And this is back when everything was in home. There was no virtual. Those first 4 appointments went no show on the first one, no sale on the second one, canceled demo on the third one, and a no sale on the fourth. 4 straight appointments that did not go his way. Nothing sold. On the 5th appointment, his last appointment of the evening, it's getting late at night. He got lost. He showed up an hour late. He was drenched in sweat. The air conditioning in his car had broken. It's Miami in the month of July. The appointment was with Pilar Garcia. She loved Cutco. She wanted to buy, but she was about to go through surgery in her fight through cancer and wasn't sure it was the right time to make the investment. Taylor Max asked her, is there anyone else that I could call, or that you could call for me right now that might be interested? It was 11 p.m. at night. She said, who do you think is going to buy knives from you at 11 o'clock over the phone? But after a little brainstorming, her eyes lit up and she said, I know exactly who you should call. T-Max did a phone demo. This is 10 years ago. Did a phone demo. There was no virtual demo back then. And with no visual aids whatsoever, just talking over the phone, he sold his first ultimate set, his first flatware chest, and almost all the honey knives. The order was over $3,000. The biggest order that T-Max had ever had up to that point. Pilar had been watching this happen and said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get that Homemaker Plus 8 I was thinking about. And that took his order to almost $5,000 that night. And it opened up Taylor Max's eyes to how much bigger he could be thinking on his appointments, how much bigger his opportunity could be. And it led to an important decision that he made to foster his relationships with his top clients. Both of those clients have purchased many times from TaylorMax over the years for themselves, for gifts. They've connected him with fantastic referrals. T-Max has even hosted appreciation events for his customers, including this gathering in 2020 at the Ritz-Carlton. Must be nice to be a customer of TaylorMax Ricards. T-Max made the decision to pursue selling full-time as a CSP in 2015. That first year, it didn't go the way that he wanted it to. He only sold $83,000. He had a lot of struggles. Several times that first year, he thought about quitting. But he surrounded himself with people who believed in him more than he believed in himself. People like his manager, Kathy Kristen, and his longtime mentor, Andy Jonte. He kept learning, he kept growing, and eventually it started to click. In 2016, he had his first Standard of Excellence year, 150 grand. He doubled his sales. And that was the first of 5 years in a row that TaylorMax performed at that level. He took it to an entirely different place this year, selling over $300,000 for the first time in his career, his best year ever. I asked T-Max for some of the keys to his success. He mentioned circle of influence. Another that he mentioned is giving freely when you can. And no one epitomizes the idea of giving freely more than TaylorMax. Over the years, he's gone out of his way to find opportunities to give back. He's mentored several of our young sales champions. He's given countless messages at events that have impacted our team. And he showed us all what it means to give freely in 2019 when he made the decision to donate one of his kidneys to his mentor and friend, Andy Jonte, who was in urgent need of a kidney transplant. When T-Max's parents asked him, "Why would you put your own life at risk and do something like this?" He told them, "Because I know the person that I'm giving this kidney to, and I believe the world needs him more than I need my second kidney." And he said the impact that Andy has had on so many people, it needs to continue. This was a major sacrifice for TaylorMax. He went through a major surgery that put him out of commission for over 2 months. Thanks to T-Max, Andy now has a kidney that is operating properly. He has a new lease on life, and I'm pleased to report that both Andy and TaylorMax have fully recovered. TaylorMax, I'm not sure if you're in your backyard or where you are out there, but I just want to salute you for the courage and the love you displayed to your brother and colleague in his time of need, and the way that you've always given freely to those around you. You are an inspiration and epitomize what it means to be a part of the Vector family. TaylorMax, I reached out to your original manager, Kathy Kristen. She's now a division manager in Houston. You're pictured here at her wedding. She said, "TaylorMax is one of my favorite people to be around. He has a great sense of humor. He's very coachable, also very skeptical," she said. "Doesn't mind doing the hard work. And since day one, I knew he would succeed at anything he put his mind to. I'm glad he chose us. I'm so proud of what he's accomplished this past decade, and even more excited to see what's ahead." T-Max, as a Hall of Fame inductee, you'll receive the beautiful Hall of Fame award. That $5,000 travel voucher is yours. I hear that you're planning a trip to Colombia, South America, and those 3 red rubies will turn into 11 beautiful diamonds. And the next time we go to that factory and only in New York, you'll see TaylorMax's picture hanging as a Cutco Hall of Famer. We also have one more thing for you, T-Max, I think you will especially appreciate. It's an album of letters from prominent people in the business congratulating you on Hall of Fame. Included are letters from our chairman of the board, Jim Stitt Sr., CEO of Cutco, Jim Stitt, our president, Al DiLeonardo, myself, our other region managers, fellow CSPs, managers from all across our Cutco nation. I know this will be something that you'll cherish for a long time, and it's a tradition for us to read one of those letters to you as an example of how people feel about you. And I think you know, TaylorMax, who we have chosen to read your letter. It's, of course, your mentor, your friend, and your fellow CSP, Andy Jonte. Andy, we'll turn it over to you.
Okay. So where do I even start? How about the fact that you came up to me at the end of your first summer and said with so much confidence, "One day you will be my mentor." You had only been in the business for 3 months. I honestly laughed and thought, I might not even ever see you again. Little did I know, by the end of the year, you reached out about joining my events team. That was 11 years ago. You love the idea of selling, thank you. You love the idea of selling around school and management training. You came to Galleria Mall to watch me at the booth, and then we went to the famous Capitol Grill. That day, I learned the first thing about you. You are the most skeptical person I was ever going to mentor. You asked me so many questions, challenged me on everything, and sometimes asking me the same questions differently as if I was going to give you a different answer. At the end, you listened, and I guess I had answered a lot of your questions, at least for now. You quickly became the most active on the show team. You know the adage, you became a show ... Some of you will know what that means. You were so eager and genuinely enjoyed setting up and breaking down, which I believe you got from having a music background. Unfortunately, your reliability on mostly events for your sales at the time cost you in the short term and prevented you from having faster financial success. You were going back and forth between two cities, going to school, managing, going through management training, taking it all on, but you struggled, and it was very painful to see. Your tenacity really kept inspiring me to want to help you. I just wasn't going to let you fail. That was not an option. You were tough. Where are you? Oh. You were tough. And after branching twice and running offices for 2 other DMs, by 2015 and lots of difficult circumstances, you were burned out. The recovery for you was a true mental challenge. You felt defeated, and your belief in what's possible was at its minimum. You started doing the strict minimum. You wouldn't commit. You even left the business for a short while, but you came back with more clarity and ready to give it a fair chance. You trusted me, and I naturally felt that I wanted to keep helping you. It's hard to believe that you've never attended an RDC, one of our most powerful events, especially for your generation. But after extreme skeptical conversations again, I asked you to trust me for the first time and go to the CSP retreat. When you came back, you stepped out of your bubble because you have seen so many people in your business thriving. There was a shift of mindset. You started to help people, mentoring newer reps, learning by teaching, holding yourself accountable. You joined Justin Ford and I at the time to run the future elite of the Eastern region. Things started to change. You were no longer as focused on your own limiting beliefs because you had to be stronger for others. You were becoming a leader. Then came the real challenge in 2016 when I mentored the Fantastic Four, Colton, Mariana, Francisco, and you. You had a choice to make. It was a turning point in your career. By mid-November, you were about halfway to Standard of Excellence. You were behind the other 3 by a lot. You were ready to give up, but then you moved into my house for the next 6 weeks, and we were going to make it happen. This was right before the grand opening of the clinic, so time was not our friend, but we were both committed. You almost doubled your entire year in 6 weeks. You poured all your energy and reached it at 2 a.m. on the last day. I know because I was there. You had your first 10K day. I have literally seen you go from being fearful to succeed to pushing limits, getting out of your comfort zone, and breaking through barriers that had been strong in our events team. You were the first to win the Rolex in the past 9 years for a division, and you were the first to sell 300K in the past 8 years. You are currently one of only 3 people to sell over $70,000 for SC2 for the Eastern region. Today, we celebrate a career milestone, but we also celebrate the story of what's possible. You've had, to use your own words, a couple of dark years. But that didn't stop you. Today, you are debt-free and you can dream about bigger things with no financial worries. That is the celebration. the true story, having had struggled and being rewarded for focusing the past few years. You didn't even have to try to sell 300K in 2021. It just happened. It happened early, just like you wanted it. That is the biggest gift for me as the person that has witnessed your change, your growth the most in this space. Thank you for trusting me to get to this point. Speaking of trust, we've all heard the expression, I trust you with my life. 3 years ago, my kidneys failed and you were the best match. You didn't have to do it, but you did. I never thought I would ever use these words with your name at the end. You came into my life so that I could help you, and you turned around and helped me in a much bigger way. But you didn't just do it. You fought. You worked extra hard to pay all your debts before going into surgery. And you always made me feel like this was one of the best things that has ever happened to you as well. You always knew I had your back and always told me that one day you would want to do something super cool to show me some gratitude. That's way beyond that. Thank you for having had my back so much beyond. I've mentored a lot of people, but you were from the beginning one of the most fun to share times with, always easygoing, always wanting to serve, always wanting to bring a smile and an experience for others. When I think about Taylor Max, the first thing that goes as far as I can remember is, where is Taylor Max? Everybody's laughing, they know. I will never forget the first time my sister said, where is T-Max? And the way she said it, I thought, oh, she knows T-Max now. In our events team, Jordan and I used to say, don't ask T-Max for anything. We can't rely on him. Wow, you proved me so wrong. Thank you for that. I think about your generosity, your kindness, your love for your family, your love for Haiti and angel wings, your resilience, your excitement for adventure and exploring the world, being Miami late, but really, your way of seeing the good in people, your desire to bring people together, your love for gadgets, and of course, Cuban coffee and tostadas. I won't ever forget some of my friends meeting you and saying, why can't everybody be more like Taylor Max? You're right, Tara Saunders, for saying that. I'm gonna end with this. A relationship started by me teaching you and hoping to pass on everything that I know to you. I am so proud of you for always fighting against the dark side and moving towards the light. Keep following that light and shine bright. You are a beacon of hope that humanity can be better. You have demonstrated at the highest level how humans can help humans. You are way beyond a high performer today. You are an extraordinary human, and I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed. I love you very much, and cheers to the next million, and the next one, and the next one after that.
Yes, sir.
That was awesome, Andy. Thank you so much for that. And Taylor Max, we have one final tribute to you in your Hall of Fame career.
I'm on vacation. Everybody sour like a lemon tree. I'm just smiling down upon my enemies. Do the shit and love it on a day of leave. Say you hate your job, but you'll never leave, never leave. But that ain't gonna be me, that ain't gonna be me. I'm just smiling down upon my enemies. But that ain't gonna be me, that ain't gonna be me. Say you hate your job, but you'll never leave, never leave. Hey, hey, I'm on vacation every single day, cause I love my occupation. Hey, 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 I'm on vacation. If you don't like your life, then you should go and change it. Hey, 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 I'm on vacation every single day, cause I love my occupation. Hey, 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 I'm on vacation every single day, every single day. single day. I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation. Mango, my earlobe, I can't hear, I'm here though. I may be a weirdo, but this is my year, yo. My life may be crazy, my lack of the lazy has let me do shit that I love on the daily. Daily, get to do the shit I love upon the daily. Daily, everybody go and live your daydreams.
Congratulations to Taylor Max Ricard's Hall of Fame inductee from Fort Lauderdale. Awesome. And thank you, Andy, for that awesome tribute to Taylor Max, newest Hall of Fame member.
Our next repeat Standard of Excellence winner is from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is Gavin Doherty. In 2021 was a breakout year for Gavin. After several years of selling between 125, 150, he exploded this year in 2021 with a $268,000 year, beating his best year by over $100,000. He says the keys were improving his skills selling at the booth, trusting his mentor, Andy Jonti, and overcoming his own limiting beliefs on what he can do in the business. Gavin is also a professional musician. He plays the timpani in the orchestra in Fort Myers, so he is able to run his business while still pursuing his passion. Gavin and his wife Hannah have been married for 13 years, and they have 2 children, Senu, 10, and Moa, 5. Gavin plans on growing his business further in 2022 with his eyes on the Rolex, $300,000 a year. And he is also be promoted to the event coordinator for the southern part of Florida later this year. Congratulations, Gavin, on an amazing year, explosive year at $268,556 and your second time achieving Standard of Excellence.
We have 5 individuals in our region who have achieved Standard of Excellence for the very first time in their career. They'll be receiving the Sword of Eric, one of the most coveted awards in our company. Our next first-time Standard of Excellence winner is Ray Gomez from Fort Myers, Florida, selling for the Fort Lauderdale office. Congratulations to Ray. And Ray is joined by his wife, Kara, there as well, who I know partners with him and really supports him in a big way in the business. I want to acknowledge Ray. In addition to being Standard of Excellence, he has the distinction of winning Champions Night as a $200,000 plus performer. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it's been quite a journey for Ray to get to this point tonight. He started with us back in 2008. He pursued management as a branch and a district manager for about 8 years before he left the business to pursue other ventures. Ray really struggled to find himself after he left our business. And during that time, he went through a really dark period where he struggled with mental health challenges. And Ray openly talks about what he dealt with and that 3 years ago, he actually attempted suicide. It's something that Ray does talk openly about because he wants to be an inspiration for others who struggle with mental health challenges. Fortunately, Ray got the help that he needed. He surrounded himself with the right mentors and coaches, and he turned his life around. Ray and his wife, Kara, even wrote a book in 2019 titled The Mindset Principle, which became an Amazon bestseller that shared Ray's story and Kara's role in supporting Ray in that journey. After 4 years away from Cutco, Ray decided to come back to our business in 2020. You came back, Ray, at a pretty difficult time, right as the pandemic was hitting, and you sold $63,000 through that storm. And then this year, as he added additional income streams from events, he started pursuing the Realtor program. He erupted with a $236,000 year to not only win the sword, but also earn a spot in our coveted Eastern Region CSP Elite. Congratulations on that, by the way, Ray. Very, very impressive. The highlight for Ray this year was getting married to his wife, Kara. You gotta love the green jacket, by the way. That's pretty bold. Not many people can pull that off. They had a beautiful wedding in Nashville, Tennessee. They even got to depart in the Batmobile. How cool is that? Something that they were able to do thanks to Ray's relationship building and his networking. It's really been amazing to watch the transformation that has taken place for Ray personally and professionally. Ray, you've come a long way. Here you are as a youngster way back in the day, showing off your threads in the living room. Love the old TV there in the background. Looking dapper there with the tie. I'm not sure what age that is, but future businessman it looks like. Here's Ray with his original division manager, Dave Powders. I'm sure he's beaming with pride right now, just observing what you've accomplished. Ray loves to have fun as he sells blades. This is his best Wolverine imitation right here. Loving that. Ray dressed up as a knife. Ray, I don't see the double D edge on that though. I've got to give you some heat there. Where's the double D on that knife? Very creative. He was recently interviewed by iHeartMedia and other media outlets to talk about his journey with Cutco, the value of our closing gifts program. Looks like he got a visit from our president, Al DiLeonardo, who has a second home in the Fort Myers area. You never know when Al D is going to drop by, Ray, right? And now he's a happily married man. What a ride it's been for Ray Gomez, number 19 nationally in his category, first-time Standard of Excellence Sword winner. Congratulations. Join me in recognizing Ray Gomez, Standard of Excellence winner for the first time. Congratulations, Ray.
It's a special reward that recognizes our Breakthrough Salesperson of the Year. Our culture is all about growth and making progress as we've created this set of awards to highlight those who have made the biggest breakthroughs in their businesses for this year. Now, it's really difficult to pick just one person with so many of our people growing and making major moves, as you've seen all night, especially in their business. But most importantly, during this unprecedented CSP year of growth. We have, however, narrowed it down to the following nominees. And the nominees are Heather Drew, Gavin Dougherty, Ray Gomez, Jordan Bleiweiss, Taylor Max Ricart, and Tyler Kaplan. So, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Our winner of the Breakthrough Salesperson of the Year is, drum roll please. You guys want to do a drum roll? Mr. Gavin Dougherty from Fort Myers, Florida. Gavin, congratulations. Breakthrough Salesperson of the Year. I'm going to turn things over back to our hosts.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff, and congratulations, Gavin, on your explosive growth year. So proud of your accomplishment in 2021. The CSPs that I will be recognizing moving forward are not only Standard of Excellence winners, but they have the added distinction of earning Ultimate Club, which means they personally sold more than $300,000 for the year. This is a major milestone in our company. This year we have 19 CSPs who have performed at this level. That's a remarkable number considering the prior year we had 7 at this level. When a CSP earns Ultimate Club or a manager sells $1 million, for the first time they receive a very special award. As you saw, ladies and gentlemen, our first-time Ultimate Club winners receive a beautiful Rolex GMT Master 2, one of the most coveted awards that we offer. Many of our top CSPs are proud owners of this classic watch, along with many of our top managers. The first Ultimate Club achiever that we will recognize tonight has the added distinction of being inducted into our Vector Cutco Hall of Fame. He too is getting his Rolex, and that's Taylor Max Ricart from Fort Lauderdale. And Taylor Max is like, okay, me again, I get to come out. I shared Taylor Max's full story during his Hall of Fame induction earlier, but I also want to recognize Taylor Max on his accomplishment for this year. For several years, T-Max was very consistent, around $175,000 to $200,000 per year. He also is determined to take it to a larger place this year. He navigated the challenges of the pandemic in 2020, and he entered this year with a feeling of abundance and a mindset that he could do anything after conquering those challenges in 2020. He had talked about it for years, but for the first time, he committed to the business gift program. He added $30,000 in sales there. For the SC2 push, he sold over $70,000 when his biggest push had been $40,000. He sold $38,000 the last 4 days of that push, mainly from phone orders. He sold almost as much in those last 4 days as he did in his biggest SC2 push before. He had his best fall campaign ever at $129,000 in sales. He finished the year at over $315K, 79% increase. We inducted him earlier into the Hall of Fame. He's a 5-time Standard of Excellence winner. Taylor Max, congratulations on your best year ever and being a Rolex winner. Congratulations to T-Max joining the Ultimate Club and winning his Rolex as well. Our next Ultimate Club winner is Jordan Bleiweiss from Miami, Florida. Congratulations, Jordan, on being an Ultimate Club winner for the very first time. It's great to see you. Great to see Sarah as well, that is joining you, it looks like. This is a special moment for Jordan because he has scratched and clawed for many years to get to this point. Many years. After several years of being around the $100,000 to $125,000 per year range, Jordan achieved Standard of Excellence in 2019 by selling $164,000. That was a breakthrough for Jordan. In 2020, despite the challenges of the pandemic, he sold $200,000 for the first time, 2 years of back-to-back growth, and he had his eyes set on a very ambitious goal. Could he go from $200,000 to $300,000 this year? Well, Jordan went out and had his best SC2 push ever, $45,000 for that push. That was a breakthrough. He added business gifts to his arsenal and sold $55,000 just in business gifts this year. His mission was to get to $300,000. You want to talk about wait until the last minute? With 2 months to go, he was only at $154,000. He would need to sell in 2 months, basically what he sold the prior 10 months. What a challenge, $150,000 away with 2 months to go. Jordan gave it all that he had. He closed some business gift orders. He enrolled his customers in his goals. He had a customer buy 3 homemakers in November, and they bought another flatware set in December to help Jordan with his cause. Another customer just kept giving Jordan referrals, and that one customer generated $23,000 in CPO to help with those referrals to help him hit his goal. All those years, Jordan, of marketing and relationship building were paying massive dividends for you, and remarkably, he sold $153,000 in 2 months to finish the year at an all-time best, $308,000. 57% increase, and enough for Jordan to achieve Ultimate Club and win his Rolex. Jordan's goal for this year is to double his business gift component of his business and get to $350,000. Jordan and Sarah have been married now for 5 years. The highlight for them personally is becoming completely debt-free. And now they have plans to buy a home and start a family. They're building a great life together in South Florida. Standard of Excellence now for 5 times. And now for the first time, we can call Jordan an Ultimate Club winner as he receives his Rolex. Join me in congratulating Jordan Bleiweiss, brand new Rolex winner, $308,000 a year. Congratulations, Jordan. Awesome, awesome breakthrough. One of our nominees earlier for Breakthrough of the Year. Our next Ultimate Club winner is Susan Saunders from Fairfax, Virginia. Congratulations, Susan. Ultimate Club once again. And it looks like you've got a fan club there with you, Susan. And it looks like they've got some swords. Be careful. Don't lean back, Susan. Stay right where you're at. Susan is one of the all-time greats in the Cutco business. In her 20-year career, I think we're at about 20 years, Susan, or real close to it, she has now sold $3.8 million worth of Cutco, second most in the history of our region. She's obviously in the Hall of Fame. This is Susan's 18th year achieving standard of excellence. It's her 10th year, over 200K. And this last year, she had her best year ever, $318,000 in sales, a 50% increase. Susan's keys to success this year: she was more aggressive with her customer marketing program. She really focused on increasing her average order and her closing percentage. And Susan, I just want to commend you. You've been here for 20 years and you're still looking for the small wins to improve your business. She also had her best SC2 push ever. Susan sold $89,000 in 17 days. Only Andy Jonte has ever had a bigger SC2 push than Susan Saunders. This next year, she has plans to elevate to over 400K. She wants to travel to Portugal and Spain with her kids. For the majority of Susan's selling career, she did it as a single mom, raising her 3 children. They're all grown up now. I think some of them are there with her now. Of it pictured, we have Tara on the left. Her son Forrest is on the far right. This is Noah, along with Susan's 2 grandchildren, William and Leo. And I know Susan loves being a grandmother. She's also become a Cutco mom to many in our business. She mentored 10 different sales reps in our region. This last year, she's partnering with Brian Hurlman to build that Virginia CSP team. Susan, thank you for your 20 years of excellence in our business, for the leadership role you continue to play in our region. 9-time Ultimate Club winner, 17-time Standard of Excellence. Congratulations, Susan, on another fantastic year, and great to see you celebrating with the family, with all that hardware. Congratulations, Susan. Another great year for you. Our next Ultimate Club winner has now hit this 13 times, and that's Andy Jonte from Miami, Florida. Ultimate Club winner once again. Andy's with Taylor Max and his crew at their outdoor gathering party. Looks like there's some fireworks going off there as well. Perfectly timed. That's awesome. We are so blessed to have Andy Jonte in our organization. This year, Andy celebrated his 20-year anniversary with the company. And in those 20 years, he's established himself as one of the all-time greats. Over $4.8 million in career sales, the most ever in our region. 15 times winning Standard of Excellence. 12 times, actually now 13 times winning Ultimate Club. Winner of our SC2 push, our biggest competition of the year for the last 9 years in a row. He's won the SC2 push. No one has sold Cutco at such a high level for such a long period of time in our region as Andy Jonte. What's so special about Andy, it's not just about him. He truly cares about others. He's personally coached countless sales champions over the years. He has a waiting list of sales reps who would like to work with him. He serves as our CSP development coordinator. He's been instrumental in partnering with me to build our CSP programs in the region. Andy is beloved in our company. He's beloved. He's vice president of a nonprofit called Angel Wings that he established 10 years ago in his homeland of Haiti after the earthquake there devastated the country. Andy has taken dozens of vector managers and CSPs with him to Haiti over the years to serve the needy and to help at the medical clinic that the Angel Wings organization has built. Because of this experience Andy has created for so many people in our business, they've become more connected to him. And in April of 2019, when he had to undergo an emergency kidney transplant, 47 people, most of whom were from Cutco, volunteered to give up their kidney to Andy. So incredible that so many coworkers would offer to do that. It speaks to our culture. It speaks to the type of person that Andy is. We all know it was fellow CSP Taylor Max Ricart, his good friend, who would donate his kidney to Andy and ultimately save his life. Now Andy is operating at full strength. He's better than ever. He had his biggest sales year ever. He just keeps getting better. First time over 500K. He's taking the business gifts program by storm. He's leading that nationally for the company. He sold $128,000 just in business gifts this last year. And of course, he broke his SC2 push record. Nobody beats Andy for the SC2 push. He sold $117,000 for the SC2 push. Andy, thank you for your sales leadership. Thank you for being a great example of what it means to be a man for others. You are the heart and soul of our CSP community. Andy Jonte, you truly are. We appreciate all that you do. 13-time Ultimate winner, 17-time Standard of Excellence. The list goes on and on. Andy, congratulations on your best year ever, over $500,000. Let's salute Andy Jonte, the #1 all-time selling rep in the Eastern region, on yet another fantastic year. Awesome job, Andy Jonte.
I want to thank everybody for attending. It has been an amazing event with a lot of great recognition. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much. Let's have a great 2022.